I'm getting asked a lot about what's the green frame for, and the green frames that we put in these things occasionally are drone comb frames, and this is why right here. They've taken this nice worker foundation and they've made half of it drone cell on both sides actually. Yeah, I know everybody's gonna say, well, that's no big deal, you need that anyway. I like it on a specific frame so I can move it to the wall, so when they're done using it, it'll become a frame of honey. In nature, the bees always put their drone cells on the perimeter of their nest. They never put them in the center. And for obvious reasons, you need that center to be more efficient when they're not rearing drones. And so if we don't give them a green frame, which we didn't do in this case, we see more of this. It doesn't cure it all, but it really helps a lot. So see, that's not something I want to put in the middle. And something else I'm going to do to that because it's now officially a drone frame, I will mark it as such, and from now on it'll get treated just like a green frame. It'll always be on the outside or within 1 or 2 frames of the outside. And there's not a lot of green frames in this yard. I guess we didn't have them to put in when we built all these. You don't have any either. Anyway, that's the reason right there that I like putting a drone frame in every colony. And we always say we're going to do it every year. Every colony is going to have one, and somehow we always come up short. But, well, you know, now moving forward, once the sourwood starts to bloom, that'll be a non-issue, because after the summer solstice and when the pollen flow slows way down, they quit trying to create drone comb. That's kind of an early summer, spring thing right there. Once the pollen slows down, they're not trying to make a lot of drones, so I won't see much of that going forward, but there it is. Every colony in this yard will be a sourwood producer if the sourwood produces. Some are ready right now. Some need a couple more weeks. Another 2-gallon bucket. So this is a sign of something. This is a sign that there's zero nectar coming in. Also, it's a sign that somebody didn't put the bucket immediately over the hole in the lid. Sometimes in the morning when the buckets warm up from the sunshine, they'll dribble a little bit, and then it hits the lid and tries to run out underneath the bucket, and the bees pick up on that. And there's something else of interest here too. These bees are shiny. They've kind of rubbed a lot of their hair off. Robber bees tend to look like that. Sometimes when you see a dark shiny bee in a colony and you're wondering what that is, sometimes it's a bee that has a habit of robbing. In the frenzy, they kind of lose some of their hair and they end up looking shiny. So robber bees can be shiny if they're robbing over and over and over. This yard is full of pole-line daughters taken from, grafted from a pole-line breeder and then mated in a yard in a region we have set up with Caucasian bees. So it'll be interesting to do all these comparisons we're doing with the different lines and the different mating. This is a pole-line daughter that was mated in a Caucasian region. So the queens will tend to be medium color and light. Probably won't be any dark ones, but once the bees are completely turned over, it'll be what I call salt and pepper mix of bees. Have we got salt and pepper in there, John?
In here?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I see some bees that are dark. Yeah.
Alrighty, got you. You're good.
Okay, I keep forgetting, this white powder showing up in all our videos, I'm getting asked about it over and over. It is probiotics. I do know that there is a lot of debate about probiotics right now. There is some research showing that it's a waste of time, but there's also some research showing that there's benefit to be had from it. And I've got a couple friends over at the University of Georgia that are looking at this very closely. And there's some interesting research on this. It's not exactly what meets the eye when it comes to probiotics. And I hope to be talking about that later this season, probably in September or October. Some of that data will be in, and I'll be able to address this a little bit. So we have a dud here. I think it was listed as a virgin queen the last time we were here, and of course, as there's nothing, little tiny bit of laying worker showing up right there. That's actually the perfect comb to slip down into a brood nest. It's ready to lay in today. So that box of drawn comb right there is, although I hate to lose the colony, it's a good asset to do the kind of work we're doing today. Colonies like this can swarm still, even at this time of year. This thing is 99.9% finished with lawn sugar syrup, of course. We're going to take food frames out, and we're going to put in a couple of drawn comb. So that's very nice, yeah. So I'll bet you this one over here is probably all sugar syrup. Yeah. Check it out. Let's see that. Let's show us a minute for a minute.
The next one's sugar syrup.
Very nice, yeah. Oh yeah,
all laid up.
All laid up. What's the next one look like? So the trick is to keep these things from swarming in the next week and a half. Yeah, shake the bees off and take that out of there. Yeah. Was that eggs? Wait a minute.
There are eggs, yeah.
Okay, that's just a little bit of
just
eggs.
In that little...
Let's not worry. I'm okay sacrificing a few eggs for what we're about to do. Okay. Push these three against the wall. Yep. Put that one in the middle. Yeah, put one of these. See, we got these combs that have been in the cooler, and they're perfect. They were extracted last year. We're going to slip them in and checkerboard this thing. Give them a place to lay. Give them a sense of spaciousness right now. So he's putting one right there in that position. Then he's going to put another one right there. Same thing. That should buy us the time we need to keep them from swarming. Now he's also going to put an excluder and a medium super on this thing and crack the lid. So we have two swarming seasons in our region. I know this sounds really odd, but we do. We have the normal spring thing in April into May that most people in this region would expect. But about 10 days before sourwood is ready to open up, some of the colonies will go ahead and build swarm cells again. It's like two seasons. The second season is nothing like, let's put the oxalic strips back on. Those are those strips from Canada. Boy, they're chewing them up good. Something we've noticed is that they chew these up a lot more than they do the Viroxan strips. We'll talk about that later. So they're getting the strips back on. A dose of probiotics. I'm going to talk about that this fall too. There's a lot of research being done right now and that I'm privy to, and we'll talk about that later. I know there's a lot of research saying that this stuff is a waste of time, but there's also a lot of research coming out that says it is not a waste of time. It's not what meets the eye here. And then you'll crack the lid. Yeah, make sure those are down. And then we will be back, let's see, in about 10 days to check this again. And at that time we'll be watching that super. There is basswood in this area, which can come just ahead of the sourwood, and if the weather cooperates really good, we can actually make a super of basswood here. Chances are this is now a stable unit and will not swarm before sourwood. I've learned this the hard way. I've had so many colonies swarm just ahead of sourwood. If left to normal devices without doing any trickery, I can expect anywhere from 15 to 30% of my colonies to try to swarm just ahead of sourwood. The strong colonies, the good ones. Of course, it's always the best colonies that swarm on you. It's rare. It's not the bad ones, it's the good ones, yeah. So this is a double deep, and man, that thing looks really close to done. So let's see what we're going to do with this. First thing to do is pull that second box off.
Okay.
Let's get that feeder out of the bottom. I know there's a feeder in the bottom. That's coming out right now. We're done with that feeder for now.
Yeah.
It's starting to warm up out here, John. I'm starting to sweat.
I know. Yes, it is warming up.
Is that drawn out?
That's
Yeah, that's
food.
drawn out.
Yep.
Okay,
That
we're going to do the
was-
same thing in the bottom box. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, prop that up and make sure they're not putting
cell.
eggs in queen cell cups under there.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, there's nothing in there. Okay, looks like they have a little foundation to draw yet.
Oh yeah, yep.
Not much though, they're
Yeah, not
darn near
much.
there. Okay, so this is what I would do. Now that you took the feeder out, spread this apart
Yep.
and do the same thing that you did in that one.
Right. Go to the third
Leave
one.
2 in the middle and then an empty on this side, or a drawn comb there and a drawn comb here.
Right.
That's creating the same thing. It's going to give them a sense of spaciousness, a sense of a place to lay. And then I would also put a medium super on top. They're definitely going to need it if that basswood comes along. That
Okay.
thing's done. It's ready.
Yeah, it's ready to go.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So we got a little work to do here.
The sunburn.
Okay, just stick that in the top box somewhere and give them 2 empties down there to lay in. We're really blessed and lucky that we have this empty drawn deep comb from last year. We try to have that. I can't always pull it off. We keep it in the cooler until it's time to use it right now. And it's a blessing to have it. This is a wonderful sourwood location. The hills around here are covered with it. And I've made a lot of sourwood right here. We are really excited about this up and coming. So we worked our butts off trying to get everything perfect for it. And I know people that aren't in sourwood country are wondering what's the big deal. This is every year I'm showing all these videos how we're working, getting ready for sourwood and what a big deal is. Well, financially it is a big deal because in a drum bulk, sourwood is worth $6.50 a pound. And then at the retail level, it gets even more dramatic. Pound jar of sourwood's worth quite a bit more than that. So for us, if we have a good sourwood season as compared to a zero sourwood season, the difference is hundreds of thousands of dollars. So yeah, it's a big deal to us. So this colony has swarmed. Had 2 supers on it. One actually had a fair amount of honey in it, the other was empty, but there was no bees, and that's kind of a good ringer right there for a swarmed colony. Cocked up the box, there's cells all over the place. So what we're going to do, I'm going to leave 2 frames of brood with 2 cells in that thing and some other drawn comb. We're going to take the rest of the brood and donate it to colonies like this. John's got a colony here that looks like it's probably got 4.5, 5 frames of brood in it.
Yeah,
And we're going to turn it into,
She's right there.
you got eggs in that thing?
Yeah, larvae.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you got 6 frames. Let's take 2 frames of brood out of this one that swarmed and donate this to this thing.
Okay.
And then maybe a couple other drawn combs and go ahead and call it done and put a super on it.
Yeah.
Just leave 2 frames of brood with a couple cells, and the rest of that brood, it's got a lot of brood in it, so just take all the brood out except for 2 frames and some cells, and we'll donate it to all those smaller colonies.
And those 2 frames have cells on them.
Yeah, look at all those cells. Just one frame's got a lot.
Yeah.
How's that little nuke, John?
Oh, we need to take some brood out.
Oh.
This was the very first frame I took out.
That's the first frame?
Yeah, completely.
I'd say it needs some relief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, just save it in case we run across some duds down there
Okay.
or some issues. We can use that nuke to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of having a nuke or 2 in a bee yard, is that you have something to fix problems. And then if we don't have any problems, we will take a couple frames of brood out, knock it way back, and then boost some of these singles with the brood. So we got 3 nuke boxes sitting in this yard. I presume they're all in the same condition. So today we have an event that occurs to us occasionally. We have to move this yard of bees because we're getting minor complaints. The landowner has enjoyed the bees for the last 3 years, but she now has a tenant in the little cabin up there, and they're not wanting the bees here. So we got to move them. And we just took all the buckets off, all the 2-gallon buckets. We could see the bees pouring out of the holes when we took the buckets off, so I think there's a lot of bees in there. It's kind of hard to resist the urge to look in there, but we don't want to break them loose. We haven't touched these colonies in almost 2 weeks, so they're really well glued together, which means they'll travel well tonight. We're going to move this yard tonight to a location that's about 15 miles from here, and Clint is right now taking the fence down, and he'll take the fence to the new spot and lay it on all the parts on the ground. And then after we're done moving tonight, tomorrow he'll come in and re-establish the fence around them. We have 33, what do we got? 33 yards?
Oh, yeah, we're up to 30.
33 yards, okay. See, I always ask her because she knows I'm not paying attention. She's got the book and the count. And I say out of 33 yards, we've got only 4 that don't have bare fences right now. It's really something we have to do. Yep. So Clint's good at it. He's fast at it. He'll have this thing down in 15 minutes. And how long does it take you to build a fence now, Clint?
Oh, about 30.
30 minutes to put up a fence.
Depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Yeah. He does a good job. They're simple fences. I learned a long time ago you don't need a 4 or 5 foot fence for bears, because bears don't jump fences. They go through fences, and occasionally they try to go under fences. So our fences are simple. It's just 3 wires, a hot on the bottom, a ground in the middle, and a hot on top. The reason for the ground in the middle is if the earth is dry, if you're having a drought, the bear does not get as well grounded as he would or she would as if she was touching a ground wire and a hot wire at the same time. I learned that years ago. So anyway, kind of sad. I like this spot. I really like this spot. It's a lovely area. It's peaceful and quiet, and seeing the old early 1900s cabin up there makes it kind of cute. But it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Yards come and go. We found a beautiful yard yesterday, so Selena hasn't seen it yet. I already told her it's going to be her new favorite yard. She'll see that on Wednesday. You like that music, John?
I do actually like it.
I do like that music.
Yeah, I didn't know I liked it until I met Clint, and then
Yeah, Clint plays it all the time.
I like it.
Have you ever heard Clint play the guitar and sing?
Clint plays the guitar and the piano really good.
Yeah.
Who knew,
He's
right?
a great singer, too.
Yeah. Yeah, who knew?
His whole family's talented.
So this is the yard from War Women Road that we had to move the other night, and we'll see how it turns out. We know there's not as many sourwood trees here, but there are some. So it's a little lower elevation. The elevation's about 1560, which is a bit low. One thing I've learned about bee yards is you never know till you try it. And by the 1st of July, we will know if they're doing well or not. And if they're not doing okay, we'll move them north and find another spot. How's it going, Clint?
It's going good.
Hey.
We got you where you can drop the wire and drive right in there and get them. You need
Yeah,
'em?
looks perfect. So this thing, of course, probably needs to be
Yeah.
in a corner.
I
Yeah.
just got it sitting there for now.
Yeah, I like it. Nice, compact little yard.
Yep. Me and John are going to grab that one pallet and straighten it up. I can't have
Yeah.
it being crooked.
No, I couldn't. I saw it the other night, and I said, I'll get that when I come back.
My
And
operator wasn't paying attention.
well, that's right. I won't tell who that was.
No, we won't talk about that one.
Well, you know, it takes a couple pallets till you kind of get the lay of the
Well, it
earth,
was
you know.
dark.
And it was dark, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think these colonies are pretty strong. We're going to go through them and put some supers on and stuff. Yeah, John, give him a hand with that.
See if we can square that up.
Sometimes we can be a little bit anal about angles and straight lines and all that stuff. The garden in front of our shop is starting to look very lovely. Going to be making a lot of changes over the next month. A lot of stuff not blooming yet. Others that'll be done blooming. You know, when I was a kid, my grandmother and my mom were always getting me to help them weed the garden, and I really didn't care for it. I never would have guessed that now I'd be into perennial gardens and flowers and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it's a part of getting older. But actually I've been into this for 30 years now. I like perennial gardens. There's our native sunflower. Some of that's endangered. That's going to look great later. And a huge zinnia garden. That's going to be a showstopper here before long. Customers stop to look at it too. It's interesting. People out here taking photographs. It's a lot of labor and, you know, some expense too. So as far as does it pay off, I don't know, but I like doing it. Gladiolas. Who knew that I'd like gladiolas, especially this color. This thing's gonna look great in a little while. Just starting to pop. I might have to be self-indulgent and throw in a picture once in a while in my beekeeping videos.